Just going live on YouTube as well. Hi, Claire. Hey, guys. Hey, everyone. Thanks for joining. I'm on YouTube too. Let's just share that. Oh, Goddess. Melinda, thank you so much. I'm so glad you like my stuff. Let's see, join. So, I wanted to talk about, guess what day it is? So I wanted to talk about Valentine's Day and the true actual meaning behind it. Because when people say it's because of some guy called Saint Valentine or whatever, and people were trying to teach the gospel or something and got killed, I just don't know what the official story is, but it's just a no. It's a big no for me. There's no way that that is actually what it means. I know what it means, but I basically, like, I'd figured out or found out what the true meaning of Valentine's Day was, like last year on Valentine's Day. And I also became aware that most of the holidays that we celebrate are actually because of true enlightenment. They're not actually like the stories that we're told. They've actually got their roots in enlightenment. So I knew that everything was about enlightenment. And so I looked up what Valentine's Day was about and how it referred to enlightenment last year. And I found like a really interesting story. I think it was like a Greek mythology story or something, but I was like, yeah, that makes so much more sense. Anyway, I wanted to do a video about it today and upload the video to teach you guys what I found about enlightenment and Valentine's Day. And then it turns out that I found this one story. It wasn't the same story that I wanted to share though. So I was like, actually, this other story is really interesting as well. So what I thought is what we're going to do tonight is actually, I've got my laptop here and I'm live streaming on YouTube at the same time. And on my YouTube, I'm sharing my screen and I want to read through that story that I found and share with you guys the different parts in that story that to me was like, wow, this is so about enlightenment. But then we'll actually try and find the other story as well and have a little look online and try and figure out like the true story of what Valentine's Day actually is and how it all pertains to enlightenment and stuff. Someone said I look like a forest fairy. Thank you. So then, I want to just make sure that I've got everything ready to go. New window for this, and then we'll get the story up that I found and we can go through that. Goddess Melinda, my zodiac sign is Aquarius, so my birthday was in January. It's like late January Aquarius. So I've got 4 people watching my YouTube. Hey, I don't want to miss any of your comments. Oliver, Cheered, Maya, hey, nice to see you guys. And thanks to everyone joining on TikTok as well. So let's go ahead and find this first article that I found. I shared it to myself on WhatsApp. So just to give a little bit of a backstory, I don't know if you guys have ever watched any of the videos that I've done about enlightenment and what true spiritual enlightenment actually is and how it pertains to like all the religious texts, all the different spiritual texts, like pretty much even the stories that you told of like Snow White and the 7 Dwarfs or you know, like the big bad wolf, Red Riding Hood and all these different stories, they all pertain to spiritual enlightenment. You'll be so surprised. Even stuff like, you know, the Avengers. I always talk about how like in the different stories, there's always these characters that are a reflection of the gods, and the gods are actually the planets in the sky. They're called the planetary gods, and you also might call them luminaries rather than planets, because if you actually look at, like Venus, Mars, Jupiter and stuff, what's so funny is you look at NASA photos of what Jupiter looks like, and it's like some kind of dust ball. And then if you actually look at Jupiter in the sky with your own bare eyes, it's luminous. So how does it not shine when NASA's showing you a photo of Jupiter? It's clearly a luminary. It's clearly a star, a big giant star, or a portal of light. And so basically the planets or the luminaries are the gods and goddesses, and they manifest in all the different stories. And just to tell you the Snow White story that I did as a video, you guys probably have seen it, but basically what I was saying is Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs, Snow White is a representation of God. God is the white, bright light of the cosmos. He is literally love and light. And I say he, also she, God is both kind of thing, but love and light is the prime source creator. And then when you split white light into a prism, it splits into the 7 colors of the rainbow, which is basically like the 7 rays. And so Snow White's 7 dwarfs are the 7 rays of the rainbow. It's like Snow White is God, and then the dwarfs are the 7 rays. So thanks so much, guys. I'm so pleased you like my videos and stuff. It means a lot, because it just really means a lot. So the 7 dwarfs are the 7 rays of light, but they're also the 7 luminaries in the sky, which are also the 7 days of the week. And like there's 7 precious metals, there's 7 chakras. This number 7 is very powerful in spirituality. And there's these 7 different energies that govern life on Earth. So if you're into astrology, you'll know how much the planets govern life on Earth and our lives. Like they govern everything pretty much. And so these planets, like we're saying, they manifest in all stories. They're the gods and goddesses. So in Snow White, they're each of the dwarfs. The 7 dwarfs are the 7 planets. And the 7 dwarfs also represent the 7 vices and the 7 virtues. And what happens is when you're trying to like progress and attain spiritual enlightenment, when you're on the spiritual path, what you do is you have to balance every single chakra. And your chakras also have like a vice and a virtue for each one. Say, for example, your sacral chakra, and I've done a lot of videos recently about this. Your sacral chakra holds your life force energy, your chi, it's your sexual life force energy, yeah? So with that sacral chakra, with the energy of that, you can create, and it's a creative energy, you can create a child, a child with your chi, or you can use that energy and create art or create music or create and manifest what you want in your life. And so you can either use that energy or you can just expel it through orgasm without creating anything. But that is like a lustful energy. And so that would be one of the vices, where you can use that energy for a virtuous way, or you can use it for a viceful way. The viceful way is lust and just wanting to expel your seed in orgasm just for the sake of it. That would be you basically being out of balance in that chakra. But if you wanted to be in balance and fill yourself with light and basically overcome the test that chakra has, you would use that energy for a higher purpose. And so the 7 like planets, the 7 chakras, the 7 rays, they all come with their own like tests. They come with a positive and a negative side, and it's up to you whether you're going to embrace the positive or negative, whether you're going to use that energy for the positive or for the negative, and whether you're going to fill yourself with light or fill yourself with shite. And then that will determine whether you're going to like, whether you want to basically live a higher existence and ascend up in the different planes, or whether you want to basically like go lower in the planes, or just stay here stuck in the cycle of samsara, reincarnation on this earth plane again and again. Like it's completely up to you. That is the free will of the cosmos. So the 7 dwarfs are the 7 main planets. These planets are the sun, and I know that people say the sun isn't a planet. What I'm saying is it's the luminaries. So there's the sun, there's the moon, there's Mars, there's Mercury, Venus, Jupiter and Saturn. So they're the 7 main ones, and in astrology they govern life on earth. And then those 7 gods, you'll notice them in different like movies, like the Avengers movie, Iron Man. Iron is the metal of Mars, and Mars is Iron Man's like a strong masculine superhero. So Iron Man is the god Mars. Then you'll get a woman who's like a really beautiful kind of divine feminine type superhero, and she will potentially represent Venus. Venus is the goddess of beauty and love and music and divine feminine. And so the gods manifest in the different movies we watch, in the different stories we find out about. They're in all the different spiritual texts, they're within ourselves and stuff like that. And so it's just really interesting seeing the ins and outs and the interconnectedness of like the spiritual realms and ourselves and our own lives and stuff. You can pretty much see everything as a big metaphor about spiritual enlightenment and about our own selves and how to master ourselves and become gods and goddesses ourselves. And I always talk about the sun is a goddess. Yeah, I would say that the sun is both masculine and feminine, but the sun manifests more as a masculine. Julia, thank you. Ray, I'm so glad you'll enjoy my videos. It means a lot. So yeah, what I want to do with the Valentine's Day stuff. Kittens are the best, someone said. Yeah, so with the Valentine's Day stuff, I want to go through these stories now and learn what the spiritual enlightenment means for Valentine's Day. So when you want to become enlightened, what you need to do is, when we fell from grace, our souls, when we were made in God's image, they were both masculine and feminine together. And this is what true marriage is. It's about the masculine and feminine of your psyche, of your soul, being unified as one whole. And this is why it's called holy, because you're whole. So our souls were whole and holy. When we fell from grace, they polarized. So our souls became masculine and feminine, but divided against ourselves. And so what happens is, like, we hate ourselves. You feel like you're against yourself. You always looking externally to fulfill yourself, because you don't feel whole, because you're not whole and holy, because you're divided. And so what happens is we need to become enlightened again, and enlightenment is our true state. We shouldn't have ever really fallen and become polarized. And so this is what is coming, is true enlightenment. We are heading that way. The new age of gold, the new golden age of Aquarius, is literally heaven on earth and enlightenment for everyone. So if you want to become enlightened, you will. Like, this is the time more than ever. This is literally the ascension that everyone talks about, and it's us ascending into our God and godlike states, and basically manifesting heaven on earth again, which starts with us first internally, then the external reflects us. And so what's really interesting is, in all the religious texts, in all the scriptures, it tells you how to become enlightened everywhere. It tells you about enlightenment everywhere, but it's all like in metaphors. So nowadays, when we have no idea really what it is, and all we've heard about is Buddha talking about it now and then, but it seems really vague. And do you attain enlightenment just from meditating for 1,000 hours? Like, how do you even become enlightened? Like, nothing. There's no text anymore that literally gives you a guideline of do this, do that, and then you'll become enlightened. So, like, how are we really to know like what true enlightenment is? But if you learn about it and you kind of like, you're given the knowledge, then what you can do is you can see it everywhere. Like, it's kind of like, have you seen the movie They Live? And I think it's They Live, but he puts these glasses on, and then like he suddenly sees like every single like advert, he sees it for what it is. Like, rather than seeing like a Coke can, it says like consume or something, and you can really see through stuff and you can see it for what it is. And it's the same with enlightenment. So to attain spiritual enlightenment, you need to marry the masculine and feminine aspects of your soul within. What's happened is that today, in today's society, people believe, and particularly with like Christianity and religion and stuff, someone's asked if I'm a Christian, I would say yes and no. I'm not really I don't really follow any particular religion. I kind of see the unity and oneness in them all. I'd say I'm everything at the same time. Hey guys, hey, thanks for joining. So when we do like get married, the external act of being married is something that religion has really pushed on us, or society's pushed on us, or the government's pushed on us. And it's like, you have to, you're expected, you're meant to get married and have kids, like that's the normal thing to do, because of these conditionings that have been put on us. But the true marriage that religion really taught about is the marriage of your own masculine and feminine aspects within to become enlightened again and to become whole and holy. And the different ascended masters that came down, like Jesus, Buddha, Krishna, Muhammad, Mary Magdalene, they all attained enlightenment. And you'll see in photos, they would have like a big sun, like a halo behind their heads. Or if they did have like a halo, like an angelic halo, or if they wear any kind of headpiece in Egypt, you'll see them with snakes coming out their head. This is all to represent that they attained enlightenment. And so they came down to become enlightened and teach us how to become enlightened as well. And so we can all do it. It's attainable for everyone. And this is the lifetime for it, guys, which is exciting. So let's get up this story. So this is the first story I found when I was looking into the meaning of Valentine's Day, because I was just saying before that no worries. I'm so glad you enjoy my videos, guys. I was saying before, there's like some kind of original story that Valentine's Day came from Saint Valentine. And I don't know, I briefly skimmed through it, but I think it was saying it was a Christian holiday and some guy got killed for trying to preach the gospel. I don't know. If any of you guys know what the official story is, let me know. But I just don't think that that's actually where it came from. So someone's said Vipassana meditation is a technique to teach one to see how things really are. It's a great technique and wonderful teachings. This was the foundation of my spiritual practice. That's really cool. I've not heard of that before, but I would definitely, I'm definitely going to check that out. So you guys are saying that it's a pagan holiday. Erin, thank you. So you guys say, someone said all holidays are rooted in paganism. I would say all holidays are rooted in enlightenment. I don't believe that it starts and stops with a specific path or a specific religion. I think that like this one truth of enlightenment, God's truth and the truth of the cosmos has existed since the beginning of time. And it was never like a group of people called pagans like invented it or anything like that. Right, so this is the article I found. I'm going to share it on my YouTube. If you wanted to have a look, I'm actually sharing my screen on my YouTube and we can read it together, but I'll also just read it out loud so you can enjoy that as well. So this was the article. It was saying that the deep influence of Greek mythology on Valentine's Day. So what I wanted to do is read out the story and basically say to you guys, oh my God, check this, check that. Like, this is all about spiritual enlightenment. So it says here, we think of Valentine's Day as a Christian holiday, but many of its symbols were borrowed from the Romans, and they borrowed most of their ideas from the Greeks. Two of the most easily recognized symbols are the heart shape and Cupid. Both of these have their roots squarely rooted in ancient Greece. So it says here, let's just get to the story. So the origins of Cupid, this is what I was saying, like this isn't the original story that I found that I was like, yeah, this is about Valentine's Day, because the original story was about Aphrodite and Hermes, and Hermes is a god and Aphrodite is a goddess. Hermes is Mercury, the planet Mercury. Aphrodite is the planet Venus, and those two hooked up. And so Hermes and Mercury came together as Hermes and Aphrodite came together as one to create Hermaphrodite. which is basically both masculine and feminine. And it's all actually a metaphor for, like I was saying, the masculine and feminine within you coming together. So you internally become a hermaphrodite. And I'm talking about energetically and your soul. So I'm not talking about having both sexes or changing your physical sex in any way, like on this plane. What I'm saying is internally, it's always an internal process. Everything is an internal process, just everything, or at least it all starts there anyway. So thanks for the likes, guys. So this says, this is the story of the origins of Cupid. Now, I don't know if this is true or not, but this is just what I found, and let's just do our own little digging and research. So Cupid is the name of the little angelic cherub that inspires love by striking two people with his arrows of love. Although we have come to think of Cupid as a little child with pinchable cheeks, the original Cupid was a Roman god, and the Romans plucked him straight out of Greek mythology, leaving his story intact, just renaming him. So if you look into Roman and Greek mythology, they literally call their gods the name of the planets pretty much. I'm just going to have a look here. The Greek gods. The Greek gods are called like... So they've got Zeus, which is Jupiter. They've got Poseidon. I don't know whether he might be Neptune. They've got Hera. I'm not sure who that is. Hades is Pluto. Apollo is the sun. Hermes is Mercury. Athena is Venus. Aphrodite is Venus as well. So I'm not sure who Athena is actually. She might be the moon. And Ares. So they've got 12 here, and these 12 in the Greek gods might actually be the 12 constellations of the zodiac. The 12. So let's just check out the Roman gods. But the thing is, this is the most important thing. All the gods are the same gods, so they've got different names, but they're all the same. So Romans got the god Jupiter, obvious who that is, god of the sky. They've got Juno, queen of the gods, that might be the moon. Saturn, obvious who that is. Neptune, obvious who that is. Pluto, obvious who that is. Venus, I mean, obvious who that is. Minerva, I'm not sure who that is. And Mars is obviously Mars. Like the Roman gods are literally named after the planets. So I'm just having a look now. It's like, not sure if I was yeah. So they're all the planets anyway. They're all the same god. So looking back at this origins of Cupid story, and I just check YouTube. Hey, Derek, hope you're good. I'm just going through the true meaning of Valentine's Day. So the origins of Cupid. Let's have a look. Okay, so this is the story. Okay, the planets are named for the gods. Yeah, fair enough. But the planets are the gods anyway, because the planets are a physical manifestation in this plane of the gods. And they're like portals of light for the gods' energy to come through and to look after us, to test us, to guide us and things like that. Yeah, mythology. Do you know what I would love to look into, but I've not done it much, is Norse mythology. Like I'm just really drawn to some, I don't know why, the Nordic stuff. I'm just like, let's go. So let's read this story then. The origins for Cupid are in the Greek god Eros and the son of Aphrodite. So Aphrodite is Venus. So she had a son called Eros. This is what it's saying. So the original fated lovers story began with a human woman named Psyche. So this is funny because your psyche is your soul and basically like who you are. It's your consciousness, your subconscious, your soul. It's everything of you. So interesting that it's saying there's a woman called Psyche. Why would she be called Psyche? It's telling you that this is a representation of your psyche. So she was beautiful and men began to worship her beauty, neglecting the altar of Aphrodite. So basically what it's saying is men on earth started to worship physical things, the material, rather than the spiritual. And Aphrodite was angered that the humans would neglect her for a mere mortal. So Psyche is a mortal. Basically, when we're unenlightened, when we're in our fallen state, we are mortal. We're not gods. We're not immortal anymore. We're humans and we're mortals. So Psyche is mortal. So this is talking about a descended human, someone who isn't enlightened. Aphrodite ordered her son Eros to cause Psyche to fall in love with the vilest thing he could find. Upon seeing the woman, Eros fell in love with her. Unable or unwilling to curse her as his mother wanted, Eros chose Psyche for his wife. But then he told her that she would never be able to look at him. So Eros chose Psyche for his wife. So the masculine and the feminine getting married. And this is what I was just telling you guys about true marriage. It's about the masculine and feminine aspects of your psyche within unifying. So basically what it's saying is it's a metaphor of marrying the masculine and feminine and basically becoming enlightened or on the way to becoming enlightened. So he told her she would never be able to look at him. She agreed, not knowing who he was. So she didn't know he was a god. And it kind of reminds me of Christ consciousness. These planets are like demigods almost. And there's a lot of stories actually about like demigods coming down and mating with like human beings and stuff. So he hid her in a place his mother would never find her, but Psyche was allowed to see her family, a kindness he allowed since she could not see him. Since they could only spend time together at night, Psyche invited her sisters to visit during the day. Of course, they were jealous of her life and convinced her to break her husband's trust by looking at him. Eros fled after Psyche's betrayal. So, full of regret for having listened to her sisters, Psyche finally sought out Aphrodite to ask her to reunite her with Eros. Aphrodite had not forgiven Psyche for attracting men away from the temples of Aphrodite and was even further angered by the fact that Eros had also defied her. So again, Aphrodite, the goddess Venus, was saying that this Psyche was attracting men away from the temples. It's almost like a representation of the ego. The ego is attracting like men away from the spiritual path and from the spiritual realm. And instead they were just like getting more and more like entangled in like the physical. So instead of helping Psyche, Aphrodite gave her 4 seemingly impossible tasks. The last one was a trap, and Psyche sprung it, as Aphrodite knew she would. Psyche was then trapped in the realm of Hades. So Hades is the underworld. And when people talk about having a spiritual awakening, they talk about having an ego death. So Psyche, the ego, went to the underworld. So this is like basically the representation of the ego death, the same as Jesus dying on the cross at 33. It was never actually a physical death. It was all a representation of having an ego death through the process of becoming enlightened. So when Eros learned what had happened to her, he sought the help of Zeus, which is Jupiter, to bring Psyche back from the dead. So this was like the resurrection. Unwilling to let anything else bad befall her, Eros brought Psyche back to Mount Olympus, where she was bestowed immortality as his wife. So Mount Olympus is up in your pineal gland. It's a representation of your pineal gland, which is the same as raising your kundalini to achieve enlightenment. And so he brought her back from the dead, which is the resurrection, the ego death. And what happens is when your psyche has had an ego death and you unify the masculine and feminine, and he said he made her his wife again, you achieve immortality, because when you become enlightened on this plane, or when you are an enlightened master, you attain your godlike self. You become a god on this plane, you incarnate your highest self and you attain immortality. And if anyone has been joining us for the readings of the Emerald Tablets of Thoth that we've been doing, you'll see that all the different teachings talk about immortality and how it's actually true and you can attain it on this plane. if you follow this particular path. And even in the Bible, Jesus says, he says like, you can have everlasting life in me. And what he's talking about is when you attain Christ consciousness, you can basically live forever. You can have everlasting life. And so he's not talking about just your soul, because I keep saying in our videos, your soul is already eternal. So he's not talking about that. He's talking about on this plane, you can have everlasting life. So Psyche became his immortal wife. Eventually, Aphrodite relented, and the couple was one of the few examples of lovers finally finding a happy ending in Greek mythology. It is a story that has survived through the millennia, transcending many empires and changes to be a part of the world of romance today. Now, that was meant to be the story about the origins of Cupid. So I don't know where Cupid fits in that story. Let me just see what it says. Cupid. So supposedly Cupid was Eros, supposedly. So don't know, but I just read that story. I was like, that isn't the original Valentine's story that I found, but I found that really interesting because, yeah, it's another love story that's literally telling you about enlightenment. I'm not reading the book. I'm not reading the Emerald Tablets or anything. I was researching a bit about the true meaning of enlightenment, of Valentine's Day, because I wanted to do a video about it tonight. And as I found this article, I thought, let's actually just share it and try and find the original article that I found together, because it's interesting just reading through and getting your thoughts and stuff. So Derek said, Freya, Venus, Thor, Jupiter, Odin, Saturn, what do you think? I think yes, but I think that Odin might actually be God, but I don't know for sure. And I'm not sure why I think that either, but yeah. So we've looked at the Roman gods. Why the heart shape? What are they saying about the heart then? Don't know what they're saying about the heart there, and also can't be asked reading it at the same time. So let's have a little look. Origins of Valentine's Day. Hermes, let's just see if I can find that story then. You know, like I'm using Google, you know what Google's like. Hi guys, welcome. So the origins of Valentine's Day. What was the story? Let's see what Wikipedia is saying. So, yeah, I just don't believe this Saint Valentine's Christian story. So what does this say? Saint Valentine history. This is about Christians. Do you know what was really interesting? I was looking last year at the origins of Mother's Day, and you won't believe what it's about. You won't believe it. Because even like Halloween's about enlightenment and stuff, but Mother's Day is actually about not being a mother. It's a celebration of not being a mother. I can't believe it when I found it. So I'd have to have another look at the Mother's Day story, but what it was basically saying was that in the past, it was like basically when you keep your chi and keep your child within rather than creating one externally, it's like a celebration of like being that virgin and being like that, rather than actually creating and giving away and then creating this child on this earth plane that you're then emotionally attached to. And children can be a real hard one. And I found it interesting on the Matrix movie, the most recent one. Trinity comes back with a whole family and kids, and they used the emotional attachments to the kids that to the point where she almost didn't wake up because she didn't want to leave her kids, and she didn't realize they weren't real. But the kids were an emotional attachment that were going to keep her stuck in the Matrix. And children can be that. Anything can be, pets can be, family can be, but children particularly, because you really get this attachment and accord, you need to be ready to let them go if you do pass, because it can drag you back. So I'm trying to find this story. I'm not even going to bother with the Christian story. What about searching for Valentine's mythology instead and seeing what's going on here? Folk traditions. I quite like a bit of folk, you know. I like also, you know, like the Celtic stuff or the Celtic stuff and the like mythology and the folklore of like, you know, the UK and stuff. Thank you, Faye. So, seeing what you guys are saying. So let's see what the folklore says, if it's anything interesting. Let's just read it anyway, you know, let's just read it. So it says, while the European folk traditions connected with St. Valentine's and Valentine's Day have become marginalized by modern customs connecting the day with romantic love, there are still some connections with the advent of spring. Very interesting. So while the custom of sending cards, flowers, chocolates, and other gifts originated in the UK, consumerism, trust. Valentine's Day still remains connected with various regional customs in England. In Norfolk, a character called Jack Valentines knocks on the rear door of houses, leaving sweets and presents for children. Although he was leaving treats, many children were scared of this mystical person. Do you guys remember being a bit scared of Santa Claus? Because I remember, like, I was asleep one time in bed and I woke up and I saw, like, he was in my fucking room and I was like, shat my pants. I was so scared. He was stood in my room and I was freaking out. And what it turned out to be was a pile of clothes on my sofa bed. But I really, really thought he was there. And I was so scared. I was really scared of him. So I don't know whether it's a normal thing to be scared of these mythological creatures and beings and stuff, but in Slovenia, Saint Valentine was one of the saints of spring. He was a saint of good health and beekeepers and pilgrims. A proverb says that Saint Valentine brings the keys of roots. Plants and flowers start to grow on this day. It's interesting. I've seen those white, you know, those little snowdrops. They're coming back out again. So it's very possible. And it's celebrated as the day when the first work in the vineyards would commence. I mean, it very well could be, because a lot of the holidays as well are connected with the seasons. But what's interesting, what came to me just then, what I was thinking about, oh yeah, is we give bunches of roses, don't we? We give bunches of flowers. Well, flowers are actually the sex organs of plants, aren't they? So it's like giving a bunch of penises to people, but it's also nice because they're flowers, aren't they? So I want to find the story of, I'm going to try Valentine's Day mythology. What is the real story? Yeah, again, a priest who was known for secretly performing Christian marriages. No, that is just so not what it's about. This one might be good. Interesting myths and folk tales surrounding the Valentines. Something. Let's have a look. Roses are also a representation of Venus. Yes, that is true. Venus is beauty. We think letting go is important, but not treating others as agents or enemies is also as important. Yeah, letting go or being like able to let people go doesn't mean that like you don't care about them or like that you're detached from them and stuff like that. Like you can truly unconditionally love someone, and part of loving them is letting them go, because you then want what's best for them, truly best for them, rather than how it serves you, how like the relationship serves you and stuff. Conditional love is basically like you like that person based on the conditions. So right now you love them, but if they became like abusive, or if they like started taking drugs or became an alcoholic or didn't have a job or whatever it is, if they were just whatever it is, you have a reason, then you don't love them anymore. So that's not actually conditional love, because it's actually love based on conditions. Unconditional love is truly loving someone no matter what, because you see the goodness or the God in them. But it doesn't mean that you have to even like spend time with them. It doesn't even mean that you have to love them in like a love way that we would see love today. It's kind of just seeing yourself in everyone, really. I have not heard about the Welsh Valentine's Day, but definitely tell me about that. So I'm going to try and find anything interesting about Valentine's Day. So the myth of Cupid, we have read that story. The legend of the Valentine's love letter. Boring. Valentine's. Aphrodite. Hermes. Let's get that story. The apple and the tree wood is associated with Venus and love spells, yeah. I've left 2 abusive relationships and was still in love with them when I left completely, yeah. Well, it's good that you left, you know, because that's putting yourself first. If you need to love anyone, love yourself first. This is really what Valentine's Day should be about. It's self-love, and it's looking after yourself and doing the self-work to become enlightened and stuff. True self-love is trying to get yourself to the top spiritually, trying to get yourself into heaven. That's really loving yourself and your soul, because everything on this plane is just temperamental. It's not permanent, and it's not the best place that we could be. It's not what our souls deserve, really. I've not had your guest request, but I was just reading this. I'm streaming on YouTube at the same time, so I won't want to be where people can't see what's going on. Right, I better find something interesting about Valentine's Day now. Aphrodite and the gods of love. Maybe I'm just not going to find it. What strange things to come up like this. Maybe I'm not going to find it. Here's some photos of the gods, look. Let's get that out of the way. So we've got Hermes. Let's see if we can actually open that photo up. We've got Hermes there with his caduceus. Have you guys seen my video of the caduceus and what that means? It's a representation of enlightenment. And Hermes wears the hat with the wings on. Again, that's showing that his consciousness has become like angelic. He's incarnated his highest self within, so he's got that hat on. He's got angel feathers on his feet. He can fly as well, like, and he's the messenger god. And he also wrote the book, the Kybalion, didn't he? Okay, Lupercalia. I'll have a look at that. Hi, spiritual witch. So what we've got Apollo. Apollo is the sun. This is represented as a female. The sun is mostly male. The sun is a sun, you know. It's not the daughter, it's the sun. So golden harp, very nice. That's funny because when I met my spirit guide, I didn't believe in Jesus or anything. And when I did a very first, I was doing like a Reiki course or something, and we did a guided meditation to meet our spirit guides. And what was really funny is the only thing I really kind of liked was a bit of Buddhism, but hadn't really looked into any of it or anything. And was doing this meditation, and I wasn't sure like who my spirit guide was going to be and what it was going to look like. I thought it might be like a female angel or something. Next minute, like Jesus rocks up and I'm like, oh, hell no. I was like, I've made this up because I thought it looks like I've just pulled this guy straight fresh from the Bible. There's no way this is my actual spirit guide. I've just made it up. And then I asked him his name and he was like Joseph. So I thought, okay, that kind of like took the barrier down a bit. So I thought, fine, it's not Jesus, it's Joseph, it's fine then. Because I didn't really, I wasn't into Christianity and stuff. And then he gave me this golden harp. And this is the same golden harp that Apollo's got here. And what was interesting is that like when I was younger, I'd met this fish. I was on a holiday and we met this fish and we called him Joseph Jesus. And I never really thought anything of it until like I met this spirit guide and I was like, well, it's Jesus, but it's called Joseph. And I was like, it's Joseph Jesus, the fish that I found. It's like funny how like your spirit guides like and the universe like talks through you and gives you guidance and stuff. And then what I found more recently, obviously Jesus is an incarnation of the sun, but what I found more recently is the sun is actually Joseph, the moon is Mary, and then Jesus came down as the child of the two. And so actually the sun is Joseph and Apollo, and this has this golden harp as well. This is a female version here though, but they've all got wreaths in their hair. Whenever they have any kind of headwear, wreaths, anything like that, it's all a representation of them being crowned, which means that their crown chakra is illuminated. They've attained spiritual enlightenment. When you wear anything on your crown chakra, it's to show that you are an enlightened master. I am not a nun, although yeah, I'm not a nun. So Poseidon, look at him. Neptune, he's got his trident. And what I found really interesting is with the trident, it reminds me of, tuning forks, like when you play music, the tuning forks are really powerful, like beautiful energy to cleanse and clean your chakras and stuff. So he's a god of the ocean. And don't you just love mermaids? Like, I just love mermaids. I just would love to go and live in like a city in the sea. I would love to just go and live in a mermaid city in the sea. I do think they're real as well. I don't think that they are on this plane, but I think that they're in the sea, but in a different dimension. So I think that if you had your spiritual sight turned on, you could go and dive and you might see the cities, but not any normal person who's not got the third eye turned on, you'll just be diving and it would look like there's nothing there. Yes, my rings definitely amplify my energy and they keep me protected as well. I like to in my videos I explain that your fingers are your different channels. They're an extension of your nervous system, so they channel energy. And so you've got here earth, fire, water and air, and they channel the different elements. And so if you put different rings on, they amplify the different elements that you channel, but they also cleanse your energy and stop and block negative energy from coming into your channels and entering into your nervous system or your chakras. And this is why mudras work, because you connect your ether, your thumb, to the different elements, and then they basically shortcut or circuit your nervous system in different ways that affect your mood. Yeah, Jesus' real name is Yeshua. There's loads and loads of names for the sun. Yeshua, Jesus, Samson, Apollo. He's had loads and loads of different incarnations. Jesus, stuff like that. I'm not selling anything. The ocean holds so much magic. And how much better do you feel after just standing by the sea? Like, my mum told me one time that when people used to be unwell in like the UK, they used to actually just get the train to the seaside and they'd just go and sit on the beach all day, and they'd just literally be by the sea, and the sea would like basically cleanse and clean their energy, and they would feel better after visiting the seaside. Well, water, this is why they call it holy water, because water is a conductor of negative ions. And so if you have a shower, if you have a bath, if you're near water, it basically magnetizes the negative ions out of your aura, out of your nervous system, and it cleanses you. So let me see what my YouTube friends are saying. So let's have a look more at these other gods. We've got Zeus here, Zeus with his thunderbolts. So Zeus is Jupiter, the god of thunder. Some people also say he's actually the sun as well, but I don't know for sure. Again, he's got a crown. Hades. This is Pluto. Let me just see who else we've got. This is Pluto, but it also could be Saturn because he's got the Death Grim Reaper thing. But Hades is the god of the underworld. He's got the three-headed dog. I'd be interested to know what the three-headed dog represents. He's got a crown again. Aries. So this is Mars, the god of war. And when I'm talking about the planets, you guys will know the energies of the planets and stuff. So Aries, god of war, he's got his like fighting gear on, headgear again. That sword will be made of iron. His metal is iron. When you wear this, there's certain metals that correspond to the certain days of the week, and the 7 rays and the 7 luminaries or planets. So the sun is gold. If you wear gold on a Sunday, then it amplifies and charges your energy. The moon is silver. If you wear silver on a Monday or moon day, it amplifies and charges your energy, and it also helps with spells and stuff. Then you've got iron on Tuesday, which is Mars Day. You've got Mercury on Wednesday, which is Mercury Day. You've got tin on Thursday, which is Jupiter Day. You've got copper on Friday, which is Venus Day. You've got lead on Saturday, which is Saturn Day. So if you utilize the elements with the rays of the week and the planets, it's good stuff. Yeah, you feel good, better soaking in the bath. Me too. Doesn't matter if the water is toxic. I would say so. Yeah, I wouldn't want to go in toxic water, but baths, obviously you've got chlorine and all sorts in the water, but I've still cleansed from a bath, but I put crystals in and stuff like that. And ideally, it would be really good to have clean, purified water, but like sometimes it's just not, it's not really doable sometimes, you know, like just trying to live life and do the spiritual thing at the same time. You can do what you can, but then there's other things that just aren't practical for the lifestyle you live. So I'm not really sure how I would kind of like, how I would really, really cleanse my bath water. Hera, I'm not sure who Hera is. We've got Demeter. I'm not sure who she is. Again, this represents the sun and enlightenment. Athena, she is, I'm not sure. I thought she was Venus. again, the wreath on her head. She looks like she's got a little wise owl on her shoulders, and she's ready to fight as well. It could be Venus, because Venus is also to do with fighting and goddess of war almost. Venus and Mars go together as a pair. Those two are lovers. Oh, thank you with so Venus and Mars are a pair, the Sun and the Moon are a pair, Jupiter and Saturn are a pair. Aphrodite, of course, goddess of beauty. She is definitely Venus. She could be as well. But if there's 12, it could possibly be that they are the zodiac as well. So what we've got here, Artemis, not sure who that is. And Dionysus, not sure who that is either, to be honest. But they've all got the headgear on. That's Greek gods. Yeah, sea salt as well. So what do I think of transcendental meditation? Is that where like you meditate and kind of transcend into somewhere else? Because if that is it, I kind of just thought that was just normal meditation. What is transcendental meditation? Artemis is the maiden or the moon. Okay, cool. So I want to look at Norse mythology now. Let's have a look at the gods. Loki. Okay, yeah. So I don't know if Derek, Holy Trinity 369 was talking about Odin, whether Odin is the Saturn, but Loki is Saturn. And this is where the word lucky comes from. So unlucky or lucky, Loki is lucky, and it's like the jester. So he's the joker, basically. He tricks you, he's a trickster. And what's interesting, this isn't Nordic, this is actually Egyptian. But when people say, are you serious? Like, I'm so serious, or whatever it is, that comes from the god Osiris or the star Sirius. And so this is the god of all gods. He's God, basically, the prime creator. But Sirius, the star, is the physical manifestation in this plane of God. And so when people say, oh, I'm serious, you're literally saying I am, and then the power of that God. And so it's like, it is serious. So Joker, Loki, yeah, that's actually nice, David, visualizing negative energy going down out of the, when you drain the tub. Visualizations are just so powerful, but what I found is the most powerful is your word, like speaking things into existence, literally like talking those words, because it's almost like it goes from a thought to literal, it's a physical manifestation because you can hear it. And so it already exists now in the physical plane. As a thought, you can't really see it. It's there as a wave, but it's not already like manifested as physical. Whereas if you speak it into existence, it's already here. It's already like palpable, if that's the word, malleable, whatever, you can hear it. It's a substance now, and it actually exists in this plane. And then, yes, in the beginning was the word, exactly. And so then it's just, I find like it's easier for it to become a physical thing because it's already now palpable, because it's already here now. It's already half manifested. Yeah, thanks for sharing that. So let's have a look. A few of the Norse gods: Thor, the god of thunder and lightning; Jupiter, obviously. Thor's hammer had special powers, including coming back to its master like a boomerang. Nice. Odin is the Norse king of the Azir, father of all of the gods, the god of war. So he's the father of all the gods, which is what I was thinking. He is actually God. Loki, known as the trickster god and deity of mayhem and mischief. In Old Norse, Loki stands for close, which is interesting because like Satan again, he's like basically stopping, blocking, like putting blocks on things, closing things and stuff, so it makes sense. And that he also has these devil horns here as well. Freya looks like literal Wonder Woman. Goddess of love, beauty, sex, fertility and gold, definitely Venus. She is a symbol. Her symbol is the Brisingamen necklace. Not sure what that is, but let's have a look at some Celtic knots, because these are powerful sacred geometry and they really clear your energy. Thanks, guys. Thanks, Clarks. So let's have a look at some of these sacred geometries. By the way, guys, I'm sharing my screen on my YouTube channel. So that's what we're doing. If you wanted to have a look, you can actually see what we're looking at. So kind of view them in more detail. Whoa, yeah, they're nice. So these knots, basically, they're like endless loops. There's some really nice ones. Some represent the Trinity, the divine goddess. Some of them represent like the masculine, some represent all sorts really, but flower of life. And yeah, they're just like kind of loops, energetic loops, and they're powerful shapes, and you can just look at them. What you do is you look at them with one eye first. So you look at them with your right eye first, close your left eye, look at them, and then do it with your right eye. You just like how your hands have got, one is for receive energy and one for leave energy, left for leave, right for receive. So same with your eyes, so you can receive energy through your right eye and energy leaves through your left eye. So if you like look at sacred geometry or sacred symbols with your right eye first and then swap over and look with your left eye, you receive like positive things, and you can cleanse, you clean your chakras and stuff like that. It's good. So you said your energy, you feel a lot. How does the energy feel? Yeah, the energy of the sacred geometry is really, really nice. Yeah, nature, there's nothing like the energy of nature, honestly, is there? So I might have a last little look. Let's see if there's any Nordic stories of Valentine's Day. Valentine's Day. In Vikings history, it was known as the Day of Valley's Blood. Valley's Blood. So let's see what this is then. Let's try this one. So this is what it says. Oh, it doesn't really tell the story, I don't think. We'll try that. Happy Valentine's Day, guys. So runes are like sigils. My rune is Airwas. You can draw them on your hand. Yeah, I love runes. Apart from like when you like I used to like getting guidance from like angel cards and stuff, and my angel cards were always like, hey, have some rest, you deserve a break. Or they were like, they're just really, really nice stuff. Like all the stuff you needed to hear when you're having a bad time. The runes are there like shit's hit the fan, like prepare for war, or like danger, like immediate danger. The runes are just terrible because they freak you out when you don't need to be. But they're honest as well. So if you're ready for runes, they're good because they give you a like legit reading. But if you're not ready for runes, stick to the nice angel cards. Let's see what you guys are saying. Thanks, guys, for all the hair comments. Once I hugged the tree and never felt so intense grounding energy. Yes, and do you know what? Because you can speak to animals, can you speak to trees and plants as well? Like, I know you can, but I'm asking you specifically, love. Thank you, Clarks. Thank you so much. And I'll see you on the YouTube then. So this one says here that the Norse didn't actually have what we would consider a Valentine's Day. They had a patron goddess of love, but she's also the patron goddess of war. So that's basically Venus. So take it with a grain of salt. However, you can still celebrate a mid-February holiday, even if you're not interested in exchanging Valentines. So in the modern religion of Asatru, a form of heathenry that celebrates the Old Norse gods, decided to fill the gap left by Valentine's Day with Valisblot. Valisblot is named for Vali, Odin's youngest son, who was born, grows to manhood in a day, and avenges the murder of his brother Balder. Unlike Odin and Thor, Vali survives Ragnarok and is sort of a representation of new hope for the Norse. This is not really a day of romance, although some celebrants of Asatru blend in the day's meaning with that of Valentine's Day. Rather, it is a day of remembrance and vengeance. Just as spring begins to blossom forth from the ground, winter must die, and with it the traditions that kept away the bleak and cold of the long Scandinavian nights. It's not, still just not that story I was looking for, man. But what it did remind me of is something interesting I saw the other day was someone had talked about, hi Andy, someone is saying the fall of Eve from grace, yeah. Eve is like your leaves, yeah, because our bodies are like a representation of the tree of life, and people talk about Eve falling and like leaving Adam or something, leaving Adam. And it was talking about how it's actually leaves falling in autumn. And the word was, the whole story is literally a representation of the seasons changing from going from summer, which is the big, all of life, with the leaves falling in autumn to descent in winter, and how the actual sort of story of humanity descending and rising and descending again is literally just a representation of the seasons. And you guys might be aware of how the Christian story of Jesus Christ is all about the astrological journey of the sun through the 12 signs of the zodiac throughout the year. And so the Last Supper, let's get the Last Supper picture up with the zodiac. So the Last Supper is basically Jesus with the 12 disciples, which are the 12 zodiac signs, and it's a representation of spring, summer, autumn, and winter. And Jesus is basically the 13th zodiac sign that everyone keeps talking about, which is Orpheus. And so Jesus is the enlightened one, and all the others are the 12 main zodiac and the 12 planetary energies that govern the earth. Jesus is the one that ascended out of that and basically escaped the matrix. And so that's becoming the 13th, and we can all do that too. It's basically enlightenment. And so the story of him at Christmas time going and getting killed on the cross, well, the cross is actually the celestial cross. Which is basically, let's just see if I can find it. If you look at the zodiac, wheel in the year. This is that's a French one. That's the Chinese one. Let's just look at this will do it. Thanks, guys. This will do it. Can't even just find one normal photo. So let's just get the zodiac wheel up normal then. Zodiac wheel. So this is the zodiac wheel. It's actually incorrect. That it needs to be Aries starting on the. That did have it in, didn't it? Right, here we go. Let's see if we can open image in a new tab. Okay, perfect. So this is the zodiac wheel. The celestial cross is this cross in the zodiac wheel, and this whole wheel represents the year. So we've got here spring, which is Aries to Gemini. Then we've got summer in this quarter. Then we've got autumn in this quarter. Then we've got winter in this quarter. So the story of Jesus dying on the cross was basically the sun. And let me just put my headscarf back on. So this is winter here. In we've got the summer there, then we've got autumn, and then this is basically the winter solstice. So the cross is basically the different solstices. We've got the spring equinox, the summer solstice there, the autumn equinox, and then we've got the winter solstice there. So what happens is on December like the 21st or 22nd, is the winter solstice, and the sun stands still. And so this is where in the Christ story the sun dies for 3.5 days, which is the same time as the solstice where the sun stands still. And then once the sun starts to travel back to rise upwards again, to start go through winter and rise upwards to go and celebrate spring and summer and basically birth new life into the cosmos again, what happens is he was resurrected. So the sun, and Jesus is called the Son of God, is called the light of the world. That's the real sun, the sun that we see in the sky. And so it's the story of Jesus is actually the story of the sun traveling through the winter solstice. But Jesus Christ was a real guy. And this is what some people say, no, Christ consciousness is literally, when people talk about Jesus returning, some people say he's going to return and Jesus is like the Messiah and that's all that it talks about. And then other people say, no, it's about Christ consciousness returning to humanity as a whole. Jesus wasn't real. He's not going to return. It's all a metaphor. Well, here's what I say. It's both, because as within, so without, as above, so below. So it's all a metaphor and it's real. So Jesus, this is all a metaphor for the sun, but also Jesus did actually come down. He did become enlightened. He did have an ego death, but it was never that he actually died on a real cross. Like what he did was it was all a metaphor, but he did actually become enlightened, and he teaches enlightenment. And he is the soul of the sun that came down as a human to show everyone how to ascend and become sons and gods and goddesses like him. And so there's so much to astrology, because there's just the whole of the year. It's also a clock of each day, 24 hours. So if you imagine this as a clock, you've got 6 to 8 a.m. in the morning, 8 till 10, 10 till 12, 12 till 2, 2 till 4, 4 till 6, 6 till 8, 8 till 10, 10 till 12, 12 till 2 in the morning, 2 in the morning till 4 in the morning, and 4 in the morning till 6 in the morning. And they're the energies that govern those time slots. So between 6 and 8 in the morning, which is governed by Aries, you'll have an Aries type energy which is fiery, starting, ready to start projects, ready to get up and go. So if you get up between 6 and 8 in the morning, you're likely to have like a productive like start, because you've got that fiery Aries energy to kick you off. And it's like Mars, it's a fighter, it's like a starter sign. And then if you go 8 till 10, that's the energy time slot of Taurus. Taurus is kind of like plodding along, it's food. So particularly people eat their breakfast between 8 till 10, and they do Taurian type things, because the energy of the hours between 8 and 10 are governed by Taurus, and it goes all the way through the day. And so Gemini is kind of like the lungs, but it's also like sharing information, getting chatty. And so it could be that then you like in between the hours of 10 to 12, like you're very like chatty with people, you kind of woken up now, you've had your food and stuff, and you're chatty, or you're sharing information, or you're doing research and stuff. And this whole thing, every single thing that exists on this plane is governed by the zodiac wheel. So this is also, if you were to start a business or an idea or a thought or anything, let's just say start with Aries again. So Aries is thought. This is the human body wrapped around the zodiac. So it even is a reflection of and governs the energies of our bodies. So Aries starts as the thought. So let's say you want to start your own business. What you do first is you think about it, and you have this fire starter energy. Your thought is literally like an electrical pulse, and it's the fiery energy of Aries governing the start of your venture on this new journey. Then what happens is you get to Taurus, which is about kind of material, it's practical. So what you start doing is trying to figure out a plan of how you can start to materialize this thought into what you want to create for your business. Then there's Gemini. Gemini is about figuring out information. So now you're going to start researching into your competitors, researching into what you can do to really attain this, and start getting and gathering all the information that you can, looking at both sides of things and stuff like that. Then you get to Cancer. Cancer is very much like a motherly energy. So maybe you start to really nurture and start to kind of grow and develop what you've been what you like kind of researching, and you're starting to almost like kind of like, nurture it and grow it and develop it. Then you get Leo. Leo is kind of a lion energy. It's proud, but it's also like when in Spain you would have a little siesta throughout the day, and you see Leos or lions sleeping throughout the day. So the Leo energy, it can be proud, it can be standing like proud. So it's potential that you're now, if you're on your venture, you're proud now of what you've nurtured with the Cancer energy. You've now got something sustainable and something to show for yourself, and you're proud of it. Virgo is the harvest. So now you reap your rewards, you're harvesting all the energy and all the stuff that you've built towards. You can now start to reap the rewards. Libra is like the tipping of the scales. It's about balance. So this might just be maintaining. Now you've got your rewards, and now it's kind of like it could be that either it fails or it's a success, and it's like these scales, where's it going to go? Is it going to be good? Is it going to be bad? You go around this cycle. Scorpio is death, it's loss, it's taxes, it's sexual energy, it's deep rooted things. So it might be at this point in Scorpio, you start to go inwards and think, right, you start to really kind of deeply analyze how this venture's gone so far and what you want to be doing next, or how you need to change this, or what you need to do. And maybe it's like a death and a rebirth or something like that. Then you get around to Sagittarius. Sagittarius is about setting new goals, traveling. It might be that you've done so well, you've had like such a successful business, you can now venture out and expand. Or it might be that you're thinking, no, I need to start setting new goals. It didn't work out very well. Capricorn is kind of strategic. It's very like plodding along again. It's climbing this successful ladder. It's materialism, but it's like success at the highest height. So either you've done so well, you've literally expanded your business so much that you're in Capricorn, which is now literally millionaires, workaholics, doing all the things to do with work on like a high and serious level. But it could also be Capricorn's ruled by Saturn. It could be that you're needing to like plan new goals and new ventures, and Capricorn's kind of like you're there trying to like basically plod along and start to unravel what you've done and try again with something else. Aquarius is again about like ideas. It's about the future. It's about technology. So Aquarius might be again thinking about the future. Where can you go next with this business, or where can you go next with your new business if it didn't work out? And Pisces is really about dreaming. It's about dreaming out what you want to think of next, which then comes back to Aries again. So this is a cycle of thought. It's the cycle of your day. It's a cycle of your business. It's a cycle of your life. It's crazy how much astrology governs your life. So Steph has asked what 4 a.m. till 6 a.m. is. That's Pisces energy. So that is literally like dream time. That's about like governed by Neptune. It's like you're going to be like really good for meditating at that time, really good for like having psychic gifts and abilities and experiences between 4 till 6 a.m. And it's about like being within your subconscious and stuff. It's going within and it's dreaming and planning, like basically escapism and dreams, and basically being in the other reality and not in physical waking reality. So it's just so interesting how astrology literally just governs everything. It's more than just getting like a zodiac reading out of the back of a book and stuff. No worries, chowdered. Hi, Latvia. Hey, welcome. We were just talking about astrology and how it literally governs everything. So this chart is a legit chart if you ever wanted to have a look. It's by a guy called Santos Bonacci. You'll see his name up here. He's designed this, and it's awesome because it explains everything. Everything you need to yes. So I think that's it anyway for my live. I'm sorry I couldn't ever find the Valentine's Day story. It's going to have to come like another day or tomorrow or something. Thank you so much. Let me just plug my phone in a sec to charge. Thanks, Jill. Yes, so I'll try and find that other Valentine's Day story. I'll probably just do like a small little video about it instead or something, but it was nice to connect with you guys and share what we did find anyway, and just have a little browse on the internet and learn some new stuff. So I will see you guys. Yeah, Santos is awesome. You should definitely check him out. See, this is the universe's sign to show you to look into him more. And what I'll do is I'll see you guys soon. Thanks so much for joining. I love you all. Have fun and happy Valentine's Day. Don't forget, it's about self-love. It's about unifying the masculine and feminine within. It's never about an external love. Love you. Bye.